explosions and it was just fire. Big flames everywhere.
Tonight, a tragic scene in San Diego where a plane crashed in the middle of a neighborhood, leaving several people dead. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. A music talent agency says 3 of its employees died in that crash this morning. Investigators have confirmed 2 deaths so far, but they say there were 6 people on board that private jet that went down. The Cessna 550 went down early this morning in a neighborhood of military-owned housing in San Diego. Several neighbors were injured trying to escape the flames and the smoke. KTVU's Crystal Bailey has been following the latest developments in this investigation. She joins us now live from the KTVU newsroom with more on what we're learning. Crystal?
Alex, as you mentioned, there were those 6 people that are reportedly on that plane, according to the FAA. Now, at this time, what we learned that the latest information is that TMZ is telling us that there is now family reporting 1 person identified as Daniel Williams. That's the former drummer of the rock band, The Devil Wears Prada. And the second person has been identified as Dave Shapiro. 2 people now identified tonight as victims of that plane crash.
A trail of fire left in the street Thursday morning after a small plane missed the runway in San Diego.
As we're driving, we're literally hearing all the booms from the explosions.
The AP reports music agency Sound Talent Group names co-founder Dave Shapiro, seen here on Instagram, as one of the people who died on the plane, along with 2 other unnamed employees. Authorities say the Cessna 550 registered to Shapiro, left New Jersey, stopped in Kansas, and planned to land in San Diego. Instead, just before 4 in the morning, it crashed into a street in the Murphy Canyon neighborhood just east of the Montgomery-Gibbs Executive Airport where it was headed.
We had 1 home on fire, multiple cars on fire going down the street.
First responders were forced to evacuate homes.
The military families did a phenomenal job as firefighters were getting on scene to help one another, get people out of houses and going. I cannot commend them enough.
The incident injuring multiple people on the ground and displacing military families, sending them to a nearby elementary school for shelter.
And the fire was by next to me because it was down by next to me because it was at my window.
She came in the room, woke my wife up, and then that's when I kind of woke up too. We heard banging on the door, ran downstairs. And my wife saw that cars were on fire, and we got evacuated from there.
As far as the lives lost, the Sound Talent Group shared this statement with the AP. We are devastated by the loss of our co-founder, colleagues, and friends. Our hearts go out to their families and to everyone impacted by today's tragedy. The alternative music community flooding social media with posts of condolences, many musicians saying they owe their careers to Shapiro, who owned music label Velocity. It's unclear what led to the crash, but authorities say there was very dense fog at the time and a clipped power line at the scene.
And the FAA and the NTSB are investigating the crash. The FAA is expected to release a preliminary report in the next 24 hours, which could give some more indication about what caused the crash. And while those authorities are still combing that scene, they say they don't believe there are any survivors from the plane. Alex.
All right, Crystal Bailey reporting live in the KTVU newsroom for us tonight. Crystal, thank you for that. Experts say federal investigators will be considering a variety of factors as they try to figure out what led to that crash in San Diego this morning. We talked earlier with Kevin Sprague, a former U.S. Navy pilot and the CEO of the Zero Gravity Corporation, about the foggy conditions at the time of this morning's crash.
Aircraft have systems on board specific for flying and landing in weather, and airports. They have what we call instrument approach procedures, where you can be vectored in and get on the correct flight path to land safely at an airport in almost any weather conditions whatsoever. So again, that's something that the FAA and NTSB will be looking at: is was the airplane following the correct procedures to land in the weather conditions that they had.
Sprague says investigators with the NTSB will be working to learn more about the weather conditions at the time of the crash, along with analyzing the plane's maintenance records, communication logs, and the background and training of the pilot. And you can find extensive coverage on that crash in San Diego up at our website, westcoastwrap.com. Our online coverage there includes a look back at other air disasters that have happened here in the U.S. so far this year. Tonight, the Coast Guard has suspended its search for 3 missing boaters in the waters off Everett, Washington. Several people called 911 yesterday afternoon, reporting a boat that was sinking about 200 feet off the shore. Crews spotted that 26-foot vessel and rescued one of the 4 people on board, a man in his 50s. He is expected to be okay. Investigators say the boaters who remain missing tonight are a man in his 20s, a man in his 60s, and a woman in her 40s. Everett police say the search will resume first thing in the morning. Authorities in Scottsdale, Arizona say they have found the body of a missing hiker following a large-scale search that unfolded today. 31-year-old Hannah Moody was reported missing yesterday after she went for a hike at the McDowell-Sonoran Preserve. Police have not said how she died, but they have said there are no signs of foul play. Friends describe Hannah as someone with a big heart and most at home on the desert trails.
She loves the outdoors. If you could put her anywhere in the world and she would be happiest, it would be outside in nature.
Friends also said Hannah was an experienced hiker who was always prepared. Authorities say this is still an active investigation tonight. Dramatic new video posted online shows crews in Arizona working to slow the spread of a growing wildfire. Firefighters were spotted patting down flames with sticks and fabrics while others were using hoses. The Cody fire began yesterday northeast of Tucson, and it's already grown to more than 1,300 acres. There is no containment on this fire tonight. People near the town of Oracle have been ordered to evacuate, and the cause of this fire remains under investigation tonight. Well, NASA is proving to be a useful resource for firefighters. Fox's Sarah Allegre shows us how crews are taking advantage of the agency's technology.
I'm outside of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. It's the home of where a lot of this tech is being developed. Now, ironically, the hills behind the lab were scorched during the Eaton fire. The flames were moving quickly, the smoke was thick, and people were trying to get out of here in a hurry. Now, NASA's trying to change all that really across the country. Some of their most recent efforts, the state of Alabama. Wildfires spread fast, but now NASA's helping crews move faster. Their new tool is already in the air from the southern forests to the California foothills. Real-time eyes in the sky capturing what crews on the ground can't always see.
Because we were in the plane with a real-time product that could tell the first responders where is the fire, how hot is it, they were using that information to deploy their resources and actually save some structures.
The sensor is called Avarice 3. Dr. Robert Green is the NASA scientist who leads the team behind it. He spent decades studying the Earth from above. Avarice 3 is a hyperspectral camera. It can spot flames, heat, even gases around the clock.
We can fly day or night. We can see through smoke to a very large degree.
It generates detailed maps of hot spots and fire lines.
So this is just 2,400 nanometers.
And quickly gets the info to crews.
The data are collected by the sensor and it's uplinked to a Starlink satellite and then beamed down to fire crews within a matter of minutes.
The tech is a joint effort between NASA and Homeland Security, years in the making, now moving out of testing and into action. The Eaton fire in LA County gave crews a first look at its potential.
We did fly after the Eaton fire and map the burn severity, and that information was used by first responders to make decisions about hazards and how they might want to deploy people in terms of cleaning up immediately after the fire.
And NASA hopes even more states can soon get the same support.
To be responsive to fires, which I'm even learning are occurring in many other places that I didn't expect, in Florida, in Alabama, in Tennessee, in Georgia.
NASA is also working on another system that allows ground crews to fly unmanned aircrafts during low visibility. That means night or when there's some thick smoke as well. And that's a big game changer because we don't have the tech for that right now. Usually when the sun goes down, firefighting efforts from the sky, well, that stops too. In Pasadena, California, Sarah Allegre, Fox News.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, some struggling veterans say they are finding the help they need here in the West.
We call them enduring spirit wind, and just have that connection.
Tonight, veterans share how horse therapy pulls them out of a dark frame of mind.
And now let's head to Las Vegas. Look at those lovely clouds. And something happened there today that hasn't happened all year long. We'll talk about it with your West Coast Wrap forecast. You're watching KTVU.
Also coming up tonight, a former California police officer accused of defrauding the workers' compensation system out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. How a ski trip and a music festival revealed her alleged scheme. The man accused of stalking actress Jennifer Aniston will get a second chance to show he's competent to stand trial. Today, a Los Angeles County appointed psychiatrist found Jimmy Carwile incompetent. The 48-year-old requested to be evaluated by a different psychiatrist. The hearing on a new evaluation is set for May 29th. Investigators say Carwile was harassing Aniston with emails and social media messages before he crashed his car through the gate of her Bel Air home back on May 5th. No one at the home was hurt. Carwile is facing charges of felony stalking and vandalism. A former police officer in Orange County, California, and her attorney's stepfather are facing felony charges tonight in connection with a fraudulent workers' compensation scheme. 39-year-old Nicole Brown, a former Westminster police officer, claimed complete disability due to a head injury that she says happened while on duty in 2022. But authorities say Brown was later seen at a music festival, skiing, and running races. Despite her consistent complaints of headaches, dizziness, and sensitivity to light and noise. Her stepfather, Peter Gregory, is an attorney specializing in workers' compensation defense. He's accused of conspiring with Brown. Authorities say her alleged fraudulent claims cost the city more than $600,000. Arizona has plans to carry out its second execution of the year.
The next execution warrant that I'm going to seek is for a man named Richard Derf in 1993. So he brutally murdered 4 members of the Luna family, including 2 people under the age of 18 and a 5-year-old son, and raped the daughter.
Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays says the state plans to file an execution warrant in Richard Derf's case in July. That means Derf could die by lethal injection sometime in September. Mays says Derf's victims deserve justice.
When you look at the Luna family, which was decimated, virtually destroyed by Richard Derf, it's a case that clearly calls out for the death penalty. And so I'm not opposed to the death penalty. And, you know, I'm the top law enforcement officer of the state of Arizona. It's my job to enforce the decisions of judges and juries. The death penalty is the law of Arizona. It's the law of the land. The people of Arizona have spoken on this, and so I'm going to carry out the law.
Derf pleaded guilty to those 4 murders. His attorneys have not responded to a request to comment on Arizona's plan to follow through with his execution. And Arizona healthcare providers are filing a lawsuit in an effort to roll back several abortion restrictions in the state. Laws they're looking to challenge include a ban on mailing abortion pills and a 24-hour waiting period before patients can get care. Providers argue these rules violate a new state constitutional amendment. Last November, Arizona voters overwhelmingly approved Proposition 139, the Arizona Abortion Access Act, which enshrined the fundamental right to abortion in the state's constitution. Soon after, healthcare providers blocked the state's 15-week abortion ban. An effort by Republicans in Congress to sell hundreds of thousands of acres of land here in the West has failed. The land lawmakers wanted to sell was spread out over Clark, Washoe, Pershing, and Lyon counties in Nevada, as well as Beaver and Washington counties in Utah. At one point, this plan was part of President Trump's tax bill. The proposal was stripped out of the bill, though, by the time it passed the House overnight. Democrats and environmental groups argued the sale of that land would lead to increased drilling, mining, and logging. Republicans were pushing the idea that selling the land would spur construction of more affordable housing. House Speaker Mike Johnson was able to pull opposing Republican factions together overnight to pass a tax bill 2 Republicans voted no, along with Democrats who were united in their opposition to the bill. They say it hurts American families. The bill is more than 1,000 pages long. It includes cuts to Medicaid and food stamps, repeals clean energy tax credits, while making permanent the trillions of dollars of income tax breaks contained in President Trump's 2017 tax cuts.
We have 220 Republicans in the House Republican Conference, and lots of different opinions. They represent very different districts around the country with very different interests. But the principle and the philosophy is always the same. Everybody's conservative. We believe in limited government.
You have consistently proven to be nothing more than a rubber stamp for Donald Trump's extreme agenda. And the American people are paying attention.
This bill now moves to the U.S. Senate, where its future is uncertain, despite Republicans holding a 6-seat advantage and only needing a simple majority to pass it. Today, the U.S. Senate voted to block California's rule that would end the sale of new gas-powered vehicles by the year 2035. The Biden administration approved the plan, the first of its kind in the country. Nearly a dozen other states have followed suit. It's meant to accelerate the adoption of electric vehicles and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Governor Gavin Newsom and Attorney General Rob Bonta say the state of California will sue, arguing that California has had the legal right to set its own clean air standards for decades.
As kids are choking up, burning up, and heating up because of climate change, we need to change. And so we are here firm in our resolve, proud of our progress, proud of being leaders.
The legislation will also overturn 2 other state rules curbing tailpipe emissions in certain vehicles. The measure now heads to the White House, where President Trump is expected to sign it. Oregon's governor is considering taking executive action to remove students' cell phones from school settings. Governor Tina Kotek says she is considering the action due to the failure of a bill. That proposed legislation would have directed school districts to prohibit students' use of personal electronic devices on campus. Governor Kotek believes removing cell phones from school settings will benefit students' mental health. People opposed to the bill had a variety of concerns, including some students needing to access their phones for medical reasons. Governor Kotek says she is waiting to see whether state lawmakers can resurrect the bill before taking executive action. Turning now to our weather here, and it's beginning to feel more like summer than spring in some parts of the West. These live EarthCam images showing us the conditions in Las Vegas tonight, where the temperature hit 100 degrees today. That is a first for 2025. For more, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Roberta Gonzalez, who is tracking this warm-up we're seeing all across the West. Hey, Roberta.
I was talking to a friend in Las Vegas who said, and it felt like 100 degrees as well. It also hit 100 degrees in Henderson in Nevada. Then you had to go across state lines to Barstow to find 100. Again, to another state to find 106 in Phoenix, 104 in Tucson, bested by 107 degrees in Palm Springs. Meanwhile, Redding topped off at about 87 degrees today. That's what I saw the last time I looked. And 64, that was the high temperature in Portland. Other notable numbers today in Seattle, the official high was 68 degrees, and bam, that's where you should be for this time of the year. San Francisco average high 64. Under that today at 62 due to an area of low pressure off the coast that just ushered in some cooler air mass. Meanwhile, isn't this lovely? On their way probably to Cabo San Lucas. This is just outside of Los Angeles, where it was 83. Average high this time of the year, 74 degrees. And then again, 10 degrees above normal in Phoenix. At 106 degrees, the heat is on in throughout the desert. We're talking about 95 degrees probably on Memorial Day, but until then, 105 on Friday. Currently in Phoenix, it's 102 at this hour. It's in the 50s in San Francisco, 69 degrees in Boise, Idaho, and how about 74 in Salt Lake City? So I mentioned a cold front. It's a weak trough. It's off the coast of our western states here, and what it will do is enhance that marine layer along the California coast. A smattering of light rain earlier today in the Pacific Northwest, but it panned out to be a beautiful day. Slight chance of rain showers from this system tomorrow, but cooler air mass working its way into San Francisco as well as into the Los Angeles basin. As we take a look at our West Coast forecast here, you see that the marine layer does play tag with the coast side, then it backs off a bit. Some cloudiness works its way over the Rockies. Otherwise, a few high thin stratus clouds also around Arizona. Here's a look at the next 3 days. Temperatures on the rise and throughout the Pacific Northwest. Temperatures cool in San Francisco, and they are where they should be for this time of the year in Southern California, but the heat remains over Arizona. The Mile High City looks pretty decent. Alex?
All right, Roberta, thank you. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, unconventional therapy proves to be a winner for some veterans here in the West.
Like when you find a buddy that you lost, and it allows you to have that reconnection. And Spirit's been that.
Some veterans say unconventional therapy being offered here in the West is helping them recover from trauma. Fox's Kennedy Hayes has more tonight on the program that involves connecting vets with horses in Wyoming.
Veterans tell me adjusting to civilian life can bring serious challenges, especially when it comes to mental health. The program here in Wyoming pairs them up with a wild Mustang. Over time, they bond and eventually go home as a team.
We call them enduring spirit wind, and just had that connection.
Just a few weeks with his horse Spirit, and Sean Walker says it's already changed him.
He's taught me probably more than I could have possibly taught him.
After serving with the Kansas National Guard, 2 tours in Iraq and 1 in Bosnia, Walker says coming home was tough. Like some veterans, he struggled with his mental health after retiring from the military. According to the Department of Veteran Affairs, veterans are more likely to be diagnosed with PTSD, depression, and anxiety than civilians. Each year, about 6,000 veterans die by suicide. Operation Remount started in 2021. The nonprofit helps veterans, first responders, and even the horses that have their own trauma heal together.
These are Mustangs who went to 3 adoptions and were not accepted or were not adopted. The Mustangs first come, they're very afraid of humans. It's really neat to see when that animal finally says, "Oh, I can trust you."
The program recently expanded, adding a new red cabin where a participant can stay during the 6 weeks. It's named in honor of Baxter's brother, B.J. Shepperson, a Marine Corps sergeant.
After 2 deployments and coming back to Wyoming, he had a hard time readjusting. He would have loved what it had done for other veterans.
Program leaders are working to build more cabins to give more veterans like Walker a place to unwind while they form a lasting bond with their horse.
It's like when you find a buddy that you lost, and it allows you to have that reconnection. And Spirit's been that.
The team at Operation Remount is working toward building an indoor facility so they'll be able to have their program year-round, even through Wyoming's long winters. In Cheyenne, Wyoming, Kennedy Hayes, Fox News.
Finally tonight, a new sign of recovery after Southern California's Palisades fire. Pacific Coast Highway is set to reopen tomorrow. The reopening is happening ahead of the end of May deadline and just in time for the Memorial Day weekend when a lot of folks will hit the roads. The road was previously open to just first responders, construction crews, and local residents. And certainly good to see PCH back open to the public here. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching. As always, have a great night.